Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining today's session. My name is Isabel. I am an event planner for the Reactor, joining you live from Sydney, Australia. Before we begin today's session, we have a quick housekeeping. We strive to create a welcoming, inclusive, and supportive environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, please let's keep the comments respectful, professional, and constructive throughout today's session. Today's session is being recorded and will be available to view on demand within 24 to 48 hours right here on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. If this is your first time attending a Microsoft Reactor session, please note that you must create a YouTube account in order to have access and interact in the chat. You can set that up now. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us on social media or through the Microsoft Reactor website. I will now turn this over to our speaker. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, welcome everyone. Back again. For those that are new, welcome. And for those that are returning, thank you. So we today are actually going to be discussing OneNote. Now, OneNote's a bit of a favorite of mine. It's one of my hero products. I have to say, I do love it. So I spend a lot of time in there. And then the things that you can actually do with Copilot in there make it even more exciting for me. So let's get in. The presentation is available for you online and it's been dropped as a link into chat for you. So welcome one and all. Kicking in and getting ourselves started. My name is Kirsty. I am an 8 times Microsoft MVP. I've also just received the 8th award in not only Microsoft 365, but also in Copilot, which is a bit exciting. Now, if you have been to other sessions, fabulous. There are still a few more actually coming. So apart from today's, which is OneNote, of course, we've then got Loop, Whiteboard, Microsoft Forms, and we might have a few more that are tacking on the end, so keep an eye out for that. If you're looking for the previous recordings, they are available on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel, and they're also on my YouTube channel as well to be able to get to at aka.ms/M365adoption. So we will go through, where is it? Do you have it? What can you actually do? How far can you go? Then I'm going to touch on some of the prompting and the things that you can actually do. Don't forget, in the very first session, we did go through the art of prompting. So that was going through the GCSE, the goal, context, source, and expectations. And then I dove into the taxonomy around good prompting. So please feel free to go back and watch this session to be able to help and support you in understanding how to do good prompts. So then where are you actually going to find it? Now, it is right throughout the whole ecosystem, but today we are focused purely on the OneNote. If I can get it to draw on the screen for me. And of course, now it doesn't want to. Let's try again. No, my pen doesn't want to work. Excellent. All good. So let's keep moving forward. In fact, maybe I have locked up. That might be why. That'd be right. It's always the way, isn't it? I'm just going to collapse that down and represent. Maybe I need to just close out of PowerPoint altogether. It'll be right. We had a bit of fun the last session that we were in where I kept getting kicked out. Oh, look, it wouldn't be a good session if we weren't having some fun. Let's see if I click out and come back, whether it'll work. No. Okay. We'll just have to end task in PowerPoint and reopen back up. And of course, PowerPoint doesn't even want to close for me. There we go. Let's just start again and bring it back up. So with what we're actually doing in this particular space, the important part is, one, do you actually have a license, number one? From there, and if you do have a license when it comes to utilizing Copilot, you'll actually have this sort of the work web button up the very top. And then inside OneNote, if you've actually got the full license, not just a Microsoft 365 license, but a Copilot license, then you're going to get the button that's actually running up the top here. That will soon tell you whether you've got the license. So we are focused on utilizing the Copilot license in this session so that you can actually ground it in your work information and data. So then where can you see it? One, it will bring up the window kind of running down the right-hand side. So you'll have a pane. So this pane will help and support you so that you can start to type into chat. And then once you've got in and you started to type something, you're actually going to have this little icon that's going to pop up to be able to help and support you throughout the page. So from there, what can you actually do in OneNote? So a couple of different things. One, I do like doing lists. I'm doing lists quite a lot because for me, I like having my OneNote action items off the back of meetings because I'm regularly taking meeting notes. And then I'll put those over into the likes of To-Do and or Planner. I'm also summarizing a lot of notes because I'm putting a lot of content. I'm always sending information into OneNote all the time. I can generate project plans. I'm transcribing meetings. Now, a lot of times that's in-person meetings because I'm using Microsoft Teams, which we've done a session on Teams. I'm often using Microsoft Teams to do my transcription. But if it's an in-person meeting, what does that then look like? More often than not, I'm opening up OneNote and then I will go and click on transcribe. So it will actually do a full transcription and put it into my notes. So I'll be doing that in there. So I will use my AI to do a bit of a troll through what I've got. I'll show you that. Then I can query handwritten notes because there's OCR recognition that actually comes with OneNote. So if I'm using my pen or I'm scanning in a document, because I often will just, scan in a page or a PDF, or maybe I'm taking a photo of whiteboards in a room when I'm doing workshops, or I'm taking photos when I'm at a conference of, the big screen and I'm kind of grabbing information up on big screens. And I just do it, take notes and drop it all in to my OneNote book. So I've got so much content that I'm always working with. Great part about it, if I'm doing my handwritten notes, it is really good at actually recognizing my handwriting because I haven't got the best of handwriting, especially when I'm using my pen and I'm kind of juggling a laptop on my lap. I play with that. In terms of creating presentations, so a newish feature now is in PowerPoint that you can actually bring over content from OneNote and turn them into presentations. Like it. Then we've got the organization of content, which I'm going to show you how it kind of organizes all of your pages within a particular section. There are some limitations to take into consideration when we're actually dealing with our OneNote book, and where we'll dive in a little bit more on that too. Love the times I will go in, have a bit of a double check in the prompt gallery around the different types of prompts that I can do, whether it would be in Excel or PowerPoint or Word, Excel, whatever it happens to be, I'll go and dive in. Now, there's not a massive amount of prompts in the OneNote prompt gallery. There was only around about sort of 35 to 40, if I remember. I think it was 36 exactly. But weren't that many compared to a lot of the other applications. It is still somewhat new in OneNote, so there will be a lot more that's actually coming down the line when it comes to the type of prompts. And don't forget, save your own. So what are the sorts of prompts that I might do fairly regularly? I'm summarizing. These are some of my fun ones. A couple of the ones that I'm actually going to do today and kind of show you. I do a lot of rewriting of content, especially when it comes to things like blogs, when I'm doing ideation. I do a lot of my, ideation in OneNote, my thinking when I'm looking at, what am I going to do for the next user group, for example, or my more formal meeting notes. And I often do wikis as well. So this is where I'm putting a lot of links and trying to find information. So I'm focused kind of on that. Now, another really cool feature that you can do across the 365, Copilot and the ecosystem, but where I really love it in OneNote is that ability to be able to go and upload from my phone a picture. Because a lot of times I'm capturing information out and about. I'm in the field and often doing a lot of workshops. And because I'm doing workshops and training and I'm doing, facilitating or train the trainer or doing all these sessions, we're often got whiteboards where I've got people doing lots of thinking and out loud and or other processes. So I will regularly go grab a photo. I might be using my phone in OneNote, or I've already got previous photos of things so I can go and upload. It gives you this QR code, which on your phone then gives you, these boxes saying, drop in do you want to take a picture or do you want to get one from that you've already got, get a file. So I just often get a file because I've got one there, or take a picture and drop it directly into my OneNote. Then I'm using Copilot off the back of it. There are only certain images that are supported, so take that into consideration. And when you're doing pictures, I've put in a couple of commands of things that you might actually do. So if you are going and doing it, then these are some of the prompts that you can have a bit of a play around. So let's go in and have a bit of a look now at OneNote. So over in OneNote and getting ourselves started in here, I do have my Copilot button up the top. Now, this is one of my training notebooks, and I will play around with this an awful lot in helping people out. Now, you'll note that when I'm actually clicking into the book, it's not giving me that OneNote kind of icon here. If I click on the pane, it opens out and I'm ready to go. I don't have to do anything like be saving it to a cloud location or because this is a book that's already sort of sitting in the cloud. So here we go. I've got my OneNote pane, but when I finally have some information on the page and I highlight it, then I actually get my OneNote icon here for me to be able to start doing some work with it. Now, if I click around elsewhere, you notice that even on that page, now when I'm in a blank area, I'm getting it. But on a blank page, I don't have it. Bug? But no, reach out to the team. So I'm having a bit of a chat with them around that. It's like, why don't I have it just to get ourselves started? Anyway, so that's now here. So I can go and start to go, well, what do I want to do? And I can do my command summarize if I've got a lot of content, task lists, or rewrite. Now, there's not a lot here to play with just yet. So let's go have a bit of a look at some of the different functionality and ways that I might actually, have a bit of a play around with this content. So I'm going to bring up, because I went and I've closed it down, I'm just going to bring up some different things that I've had a play around with to help and support you when it comes to OneNote prompts. So, for example, I've recently been taking and going for a bit of a holiday to Japan. I've got that coming up. Now, I regularly go probably once a year, every 18 months or so, with my mother, who's quite disabled. She's in a wheelchair. And as her carer, there's a lot of things I need to take into consideration. And in the past, it was a really big job. When I first did this sort of 3.5 years ago, when I was collating a lot of information, I had this book that's shared between my best friend, my mother, and myself, and going away. Now, I had to manually pull together a lot of information. Whereas now, using Copilot, I want wheelchair hotel rooms with wet rooms, no bathtub. I want it in walking distance from a terminal, and I want it to be under a certain amount. So now I get all of these lists that I could just drop in and URLs. I went through and I kind of went, I want, friendly shopping districts, and it was giving me full lists with links as well, looking at different attractions. Now, my, question in here, and I sort of would be going into Copilot, the questions were, I want to have a look at attractions that are accessible, give me the ticket prices. I would like to have a bit more of an understanding. I want the URLs for it. And then I would be grabbing a few screenshots whilst I was there and having a bit of a look. So I was doing this and getting some fun facts, and I wanted some in-depth travel tips about each location and the attractions as I worked my way through some etiquette and, some other fun information along the way. Now, depending on how I asked the question, the information would come out potentially a little different from one to the other. There were some times I had forgotten to say, put it into a table. So I was then sort of struggling and playing around with it. But eventually I got it to a bit of a process where I got pretty slick. And in the space of 23 minutes, I had dropped in so much information to be able to help and support when it came to things like my transport. I had trains that I can easily get onto, ramps and accesses. And, what is the cost, and the taxi companies, and do they actually have wheelchair accessible taxis? So this is the sort of thing that I will do, all the time. Well, not for a holiday all the time. If only we're going on holidays all the time. But I don't just assume that I can't get the information and drop it in and ask AI to do it. So from more, this is on the personal side of things, okay? But what about then, let's have a look at the more corporate side of things and the work that I might do here. So for example, I would be dropping in information. I will bring over, a lot of times I will be bringing in things like white papers that I can actually work with and source and design and create from. So in this particular one here, I was sort of having a look at it, and I was wanting to understand a little bit more around the different ways that I could, present this information when it came to Copilot. Now I have all sorts of things in my kind of chat history, and I will go in and sometimes grab things from my chat history here if I wanted to, or come back and create. So depending on, what you've got or how you want to try and find it. So it could be here, I could ask, I've got my edit, understand, and create. So if I was in here, it could be, help me plan or create something. If I'm not sure what I could do, go to my prompts and I can dive down into some of them. Give me some ideas, help me plan, understand, draft, help me improve, pros and cons, analyze, help me form an argument to my manager. Now, this one here, help me form an argument. Now, this one is based on the total economic impact of Copilot. Help me form an argument for my senior leadership on the best way to adopt Microsoft 365 Copilot and how I can use this page with the white paper to provide some great statistics. Let's just have a look at that. Let's see what it does. So I would pull in white papers, or I need to build an argument, or I'm trying to build a blog. I've actually utilized it where I've been building a bit of a blog around how I can work with it. So it goes through, it's analyzing this page, it's talking about some of its benefits, implementation strategies, using the statistics in here in the conclusion. So it's like, hang on a second, but it didn't actually give me any of the specific. There's a lot of great statistics that are right throughout this. So it goes, can you list some specific statistics from this white paper? I was like, yeah, please. Okay, excellent news. So it'll work its way through. It will help me out. So here we go. Productivity gains, some arguments, some cost savings, decision making. So I like some of that. So a lot of times what I would do is I'd actually copy some of this information that I might use. If I've got things like reference points, because it is using this document as a reference point, because you can see it's doing it based on number one, the total economic index. I could go, please remove, reference numbers or points, or for example, go sure, because I want to kind of copy and paste and then play around with it a little bit later. So here we go. Dropping it in. Have a bit of a play. So I might then copy that. I could go a little bit further. I could do very specific questions. I could dive into a particular topic. So I can decision making, go, can you give more information? And I go back and forward and help me to build out. What else might I do? Let's go have a look. I'll jump over to something else. When we're having a bit of a play, or I'm doing something like a transcript from a meeting, and I've got lots of different transcripts in here. Now, this one in particular was from an Ask Me Anything, an obsession that Caruana had actually done. One, I kind of went, okay, I've got this transcript. I've copied and pasted it from online. It was just on the YouTube channel, and I've pasted it into here. And I'm going to go and do a new prompt. And from this one, I've done things like, for example, help me create an FAQ with Q&A, and questions need to be in bold for this page. Okay, I could also say, for what audience is it, for example? I could, just say I'm creating it as a change manager focused on, information workers. I could really dive down and do much better prompting to be very specific around the type of Q&A and the pitch or the tone I might want it to be in. It could be make sure it's in a formal language. So here we go. Here, what's the Frontier program? Now, here's this Frontier program and information. I could take that, and up here I've got the Frontier program, and it's the actual white paper PDF, and dive down just a little bit further if I wanted to. So what else have I got going on? Now, here is a transcript from an in-person meeting. So that's a transcript where I've just copied and pasted and I've created something like an FAQ off the back of it. This one here in a transcript was I was having a bit of a brain dump of information that I was thinking, what can I do around my adoption website? What are the things I need to be focused on, for example? And I did it as a transcript, and then I dropped that transcript in. So here's my kind of transcription, my speaker information, I've got my recording, and I've added it then into the page based on starting a transcript. Great for if you want to just, do the talk out loud kind of thing, or you could do the dictation if you wanted to as well, either or. Transcription, though, is great when you've got more than one person because it will recognize speaker 1 and speaker 2 and 3, for example, based on the tone of voices in the room. So here I've got one. I'm just going to go and highlight, for example, and I'm going to come back in this time. And in this instance, I'm going to create me a task list. So I go, sure, let's create a task list based off this information. Because I've got things that in here I need to do. And I go, very good. What is it? I have to update the page, because I've got here pages that need to be updated, individual pages on each topic, which I've talked about. So if you can get here, individual pages on each topic, building out, create overarching training content. So it's looking through, finding where I've got action items. So now I've got this tick list to be able to go through and go, have I done it? So very quick and easy off the back of transcriptions or meeting notes, for example, if it's been working your way through. Now, a lot of times I'm doing screen capturing. So here we go is, this is a bit of a picture, and I was in a workshop not that long ago, and I was kind of going, what are the various things that can come up when that can be more in the negative when we're focused on some of our work. So I can go, can you extract the information, for example, from this? So it'll be transcribed, for example, transcribe the whiteboard, from this image, put it into a bullet point list so I can use this to email to a client. Okay? So it's like, no, that's not great writing. I've got all sorts of things going on here. In fact, I've even got, no comms, for example, not even no communications. Let's see how it goes on this page, considering it's my handwriting on a whiteboard and not very neat. And let's have a little bit of a look as to how it comes out. Workshop, capturing, OneNote training. Oh, it's going through everything because I didn't say on this page. Helps if I say on this page. So you can see here, I'm going to go, let's just do a new. Now, last time I did a load this up from my phone. Let's just see if it will do it now, because often I've loaded this from my phone. I've got it here as a pre-built. I might have to get it from my phone again. No, it's going to do it again. Okay, so let's do that from my phone. I'm going to do it that way because usually I'm bringing it in from my phone. Get a new chat. Still doing the previous chat. This is all notes. Now it's really going through. So, going through everything. Let's try again. And it's still going. Working on it. Right. So I am just going to go add a page. And I need to stop. and it doesn't want to stop. Close. Let's try again. Open. Okay, here we go. So in this instance, upload from my phone. I'm going to bring in that picture that I was talking about. So let me just do, I'm using my phone here. So I'm going to scan. And you can see I've got to select the image. So I'm going to go get the image that I want from my photo library. And in this instance, now, as part of my demo, you'll see it then come in onto the page. So I've done the load it up. Let's see it drop in on the page. Image is sent, downloading. And let's go transcribe this, the image, and put into a bullet point list so I can use this to email to a client. Here we go. Try that again. Now it's actually, it's pretty good in terms of bringing it in. Analyzing the image. Here we go. Deleting files. Now I want to get this. Let's just go in. I'm going to just copy this information that I've got here. So let's just go copy. And let's come back up to that workshop capture. I'm going to put it side by side. And let's just see how well it did. Considering that says delete files, it worked. They might not show up, the wrong info, bad match in terms of project or people, misinformation. I've got misinfo. See misinfo, it's even put it out in full. No change management. Okay, I've just got that in short as well. No comms, lack of collaboration. I've just got lack of collab, and even the B is not in there. It's pretty impressive. I do love the fact that it's actually bringing that over. Score, that's actually, when you're looking at score and theatre, well, it's probably not the right one. And then this has got mode, and it's probably more morale. So it did pretty good in terms of my writing, but I tell you what, it's so much better than me sitting there and typing all of those notes out. If it's got a couple of things wrong, that's okay. No, I don't mind that. Now, if there's something like a particular page that's here that you kind of dropped in, so let's go on this page, can you give me the list of items? So this is a screen capture from a workshop. Let's see if we can get it to do. It's a screen capture titled from the workshops. Could you provide more detail? Specify which items am I referring to? Okay, so it goes list any headings, summarize the main content on the page. Now it's actually summarizing a picture from a screenshot that I've dropped in from my phone. And then there's no specific cost. Now it doesn't want to work for me today. Fine, okay, let's move on. This is a preset sort of content that I'm playing around with. And as part of the functionality, more often than not, I'm kind of cleaning things up like a bio. So for example, I have a bio like this. I might come in and as part of the bio, I would say, please, more often than actually, I'll go here, kind of rewrite this. So summarize or rewrite. So if I go in and rewrite this here, I'm not going to do it over on the right. I'm going to do it over here. Rewrite this, and it can be, keep it now, rewrite, had a bit of I like it, and I might copy and paste that instead. Or maybe I want to copy it completely and come over to the right-hand side and go make this no more than, 100 words long because I've been told that I need to limit it down. So it goes, sure, let me have a look at this and I'll have a bit of a play. So I will be doing this all the time where I'm bringing content in and going, I don't have that much space, or I might ask it to help me to turn this into a Twitter because it needs to only be a certain amount. So it's like as an output, for example, and it goes, sure, I'll make it just that little bit smaller. I'll also come in and say, for example, I'm wanting to do some handwriting. It does recognize handwriting. Now, it is a little I would say it's not been brilliant just yet, but I can use my pen and just type in, how are you, for example. Okay. So it will, I've done that very fast on my screen standing up, for example, but it does actually work. When it comes to me writing in there, I can come in and go, next, and do it in writing. Now, if I'm writing and I'm going kind of next, info, for example, and I drop that in, if I start writing back over the top of it here, for example, it's going to go over the top. So you're going to kind of, that's the biggest challenge. Often we've only got a very small space. So we have to kind of take that into consideration when we're writing. So if I'm going kind of next info here now, not great. So this is some of those challenges. It's good when it's a couple of words. If my writing's not brilliant and I'm not writing in small, it can then be a little bit of a challenge. So use things like your keyboard. You get your digital keyboard, it's going to work really well. But trying to write in, you can write in the space, not brilliant. Okay, something to take into consideration. So in here, I've got, help me to kind of analyze some information, or I'm doing a blog, and you'll see here it was helping me to do a blog, or maybe I'm creating a process diagram. So I create some process diagrams and some notes and help me to find action items off notes. Or I could even come in and go, based on all of these sections, can you arrange it? So it goes, organize this section by date, for example. So I'm going to go organize a section. Now what's going to do is going to take all of those pages and it's going to shuffle them all around. So it could be by date, it could be time, it could be by alphabet. Here we go. This is the suggestion. So if I go apply, you'll note it's now adjusting all of these pages around. And if I didn't like it, I can undo it. You can be very specific around how you want it to be organized. Okay. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of, playing around inside OneNote. There is lots of great questions, frequently asked questions. Don't forget, we got more sessions. There's also some good information in the various blogs, how you can actually use OneNote across the ecosystem to write out content, get yourself prepped and ready and prepared. Have a look at some of those kind of, some of the limitations. It will just be based on a page. It's not actually based on books yet. You've also got the ability at this point to be able to see your Copilot notebooks directly inside your OneNote. So that's now a new feature and functionality when it comes to your Copilot notebook. So this leaves your loop components, and you can go in and drop in OneNote pages to be able to do queries. So that's now directly in your OneNote too. So a little bit of fun there to help you. So lots of training information, documentations in the presentation if you want to have a look at some of the scenarios of how you could use it. Also go to Microsoft Learn. You can do some more learning from basic through to advanced. My information is all in here. The true power of working with, Microsoft 365 and Copilot really lies with you in terms of pushing it to its limit to see what you can do. At the moment, it's not across a book. It's not across even the sections quite as yet. It's more about the page in OneNote. And hopefully, cross fingers, we'll have a little bit more in that coming soon. Thank you very much for joining. I do see we've got a question. Happy to answer that now. So in a meeting where more than one person has action items, how does Copilot identify and list only your action items? Okay, so what you might then do in this instance is, if it is an in-person meeting, so an in-person meeting is a little bit different because it will go speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3. So you might tell Copilot who speaker 1 is. Sometimes what I will even do in a meeting is, if I'm just doing kind of an in-room and it's not recognizing the different speakers, for example, I will get the individual to say their name first before they speak out loud. It will help then the transcript to identify who the individuals are. So that's number one. So who is it? So that, then you can go through and actually ask the question. 1, can you give me the list of action items, and put it in a table is a really good, way to kind of help you out. Put it in a table. When is it actually due by? And, and who is the action item for? Or you could go then, I want to find only the action items, and ask the question. Because if you're doing a task list is different to asking Copilot to pull actions and identify them. So you have to then look at, what is it that you're trying to ask for and where are you doing it? Because there's the, inside OneNote, create the task list by just doing a right click, or opening it up the chat and asking in there of your content. So just have a think about it and at what and which way have you grabbed it? Has it a transcript, copy and paste? Is it you've like from somewhere else? As I said, is it a transcript that you've used through OneNote where it's got the speakers identified? Was it, and you can ask for recent transcripts, for example, and find from meeting notes. It will look at meeting note transcripts and actually put them into your OneNote as well from recent action items. Okay. So they're all different ways that you can kind of play around with it. I'm not seeing any other questions in here at the moment. If not, thank you so much for joining in the session. Here is the link, and you can just scan the QR code if you'd like a copy of the presentation with some other prompts and fun information on where you can find it. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining.